So as I said, it's an unusual seminar, but one that is very welcome as well. So colleagues from the National Nuclear User Facility for Hot Robotics asked for an opportunity to talk to us, and I welcome the opportunity very much for us to get to know them and possibly identify ways of collaboration. So this afternoon we have 3 speakers. The first one is Sabrina Shirazi. She is the project manager for the facility in the University of Bristol, who is the lead of the consortium. We'll have Dr. Darren Porter, who's the capability leader working in the National Nuclear Laboratory, and also Laura Moody-Firth, who's also a project manager but from the University of Manchester. Welcome to the 3 of you. Thank you very much for agreeing to talk to our community. Look forward to hearing more about your work. Please.
Great, thank you very much for the introductions. Before I go into a bit of a PowerPoint, there are 2 links that I've just put into the chat.
Okay.
The first one is an NNUF link. So for those who may not know about NNUF, it stands for the National Nuclear User Facility. If you click on that link, you'll see a page on the NNUF website, which is specific to the Hot Robotics NNUF facility. There are about 18 to 20 other NNUF facilities, each with a different specialism. For Hot Robotics, our specialism, of which there are 4 partners, is the hiring out of or use on site of equipment and facilities for use in nuclear research by academics, SMEs and industry. So the way in which you can have a look in the interim of our equipment list is if you go to that link, the first one, and you scroll down to the bottom, there's a pink box. In that pink box, you'll see some PDF brochures. Can everyone give an indication that maybe they're there and you might have found it?
Yeah, I have found it.
Great,
yes.
Okay. So we also have a website that's going live next month, which will give a brilliant overview and more detail of the whole host of equipment and our facilities, which are with all the partners. And that's on the second link. So if you click on that, you'll see that we have a holding page. So that will go live next month. To keep up to date with any new equipment that's coming about, you can also come to our, follow our mailing list and also find us on LinkedIn. I'll give you those links in a short while. So I'm going to now share my screen and go through a PowerPoint with you to go into a bit more detail about all the 4 parts. So I can't actually share my screen now.
I have made you a co-host, just not fast enough.
Thanks very much. Right, let's try this. Can you see?
Yes.
Great. Okay, so there are 4 partners to Hot Robotics Race, which I'll be talking on their behalf because Mike Hellebrand, who's the project manager for Race, isn't on the call, but I'll be speaking in for him. It's Bristol. I'll be talking about Bristol, Manchester with Laura, and NNL with Darren Potter. So we're in 3 different parts of the UK. In the north, we have NNL and Manchester. In the south, a bit further apart from each other, it's Bristol and UKAEA or Race. As I mentioned before, industry, academics, SMEs can hire equipment from us, which are a range of robotics equipment, to develop technological solutions, decommissioning or radiation mapping, and everything will be shown in much greater detail on our website in July. There is another benefit to being an NNUF facility in that as an academic, you can hire the equipment for free. So usually each piece of equipment has a higher cost. However, if you're an academic, you can apply to use the equipment through something called the Access Scheme Fund. So in the chat earlier, I gave you a link to the NNUF page that was specific to Hot Robotics. However, if you hover over how to gain access, which is along the top, you'll be able to see a link to how to apply for this Access Scheme Fund. And this is a pot of money in the region of £6 million, which is available in 3-month rounds up to March 2023. So normally, in order to understand how to apply or what equipment you may need, say for example, you're based in the Southwest and you want to use a drone, you can email us in the same way that you can email any of the other facilities to inquire our equipment and understand when you can access it. We will help you fill in the application form, and then if it's successful, then you're able to use the equipment for the dates that you require it for. The benefit is that you won't need to pay for the hire of it. So there is a call coming up, and this will cover access between October to December. So round about July time, you'll be able to apply to the Access Scheme Fund, and if successful, you'll be able to use the equipment between October to December. There will be an additional time frame for using NNL's equipment, which Dan can talk about in a bit, because of the clearance required. So there's greater time scale for applying to NNL. I'll go through a bit now the partners' own equipment and facilities. So Mike, he's given me a script and I'm going to follow it to a T. So Race, UKAEA, house an area of equipment and mock-ups which can be used at their site or transported to user's location. The equipment consists of a mixture of manipulators, ground and air vehicles and sensors. The mock-ups are essentially simulations of real-world industrial challenges. Race have a barrel waste store, which you can see at the top left there. They also have mobile robotics for surveillance and inspection. Their robot cells come with complete fencing, interlocks, and within it a sort of segregation cell. There's a glove box arrangement, and they're also able to provide users with supervision and training on the equipment. So there are similarities between some of the kit that Race have and the others, but we're trying to make it regionally accessible. So depending on where you are, you'll have access to equipment that's of use to your research. So for University of Bristol, we're based in North Somerset. I'm actually here now at our facility. We have a meeting area, which is what I'm sat in. Next door, we also have an area for testing robotic systems. We have a range of ground robots, and we have a robot barn outside of this area where we house all the the range of cookers that we have, and the Kinder arms. We also have A1 dogs, the same way that Manchester do, and we have a range of drones as well. So we have sealed sources for helping to detect robotic systems that you may want to create and test. We also have a runway for testing the drones, and we also have floor space for testing any systems for using the ground robots. And like Grace, you can hire equipment out or use it on our site. We also have technical support should you wish to talk about any solutions that you're looking for. I'll hand you over now to Laura.
Sabrina, hi everyone. So the University of Manchester's facility is based at our Robotics Extreme Environments Lab in Cumbria, and it was initially set up to enable close collaboration with Sellafield and the nuclear supply chain that are based in West Cumbria. You can see from some of the images here, we've got a large reconfigurable space which allows localization and motion planning to be investigated, and that has a Vicon positioning system above it. And we also have as a Qualisys tracking system under the water. So some of the oh, my internet connection is unstable apparently, so hopefully you can still see me. Yeah, some of the equipment that is available includes an array of submersible vehicles and underwater manipulators which can be tested in the pond. But we also have various terrestrial robots, including wheeled, tracked, legged platforms that have been manufactured by companies such as ClearPath, AgileX, Unitary, which is the A1 dog robot, which Sabrina has already mentioned, and ICE9. Oh, and that's together with got our KUKA manipulators. In addition to the robots, we've got a range of sensors, including thermal cameras, radiation detectors, and simulated radiation sources, and detectors that are ideal for testing robot autonomy in radiation environments. It's also just worth mentioning that in September,
Laura, your internet cut out, but I think what you might have started to say is that there will soon be a move of equipment to a much larger facility. Should you have any questions about Manchester, Laura will still be on this call, and the hope is that the internet improves. It's always very tricky when you're doing these online webinars to ensure that the one thing you need, the internet connection, stays sound. But Laura, I'm sure, will come back on the line.
She's back.
Am I back? I don't know.
Okay.
Hello. Am I okay?
Yes.
Yeah. So I was just saying, so we'll be moving into a new building, and that's a.
And now she's gone.
Okay. Well, they are going to be moving to a new building in partnership with Sellafield and UKEA. I think it's called RICO.
RICO wants Sabrina.
RICO. Oh, thank you, Darren. Thanks very much.
So it's a collaboration with Sellafield Limited, UKEA Race, and NNL as well.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. On that note, we'll move over to NNL and Darren.
Okay, let's hope my internet connection stays quite stable then for this. Okay, so hi everyone. My name is Darren Potter. I'm the capability leader for the plant intervention area at NNL, and this is our component of the National Nuclear User Facility for Hot Robotics. What we've done is slightly different to the other partners. We've actually ring-fenced 900 square meters of our Workington laboratory facility. Now, for those of you who know, NNL Workington is part of one of the 6 national lab facilities that we have. It's a non-active facility, and what we've done is we've made free to access the industrial scale manipulators, which are plant representative mock-ups that can be used as part of NOF-HR. So what do we have in there? So we've got a full-scale sort and segregation environment that was generated as part of the Romans Horizon 2020 project. That was about 5 years ago. Yeah, that's been developed and has now semi-autonomous control for human supervised works. It has a variety of different grippers and 2 very large KR180 KUKA robots for academics to come and play with and test out their software algorithms. We also have a semi-autonomous laser cutting facility. It's got a 5 kilowatt laser, can cut through a substantial amount of material for things like glove box size reduction, drum size reduction, everything to do with nuclear decommissioning. It's a hybrid head, so it's not just water cooled, it's actually air cooled as well. So it provides what is a non-active demonstrator of an active demonstrator on the Sellafield facility. So it does actually have a sister plant as well for you to come and test and use. It has a separate control room facility as well, so you get a real experience of actually what it is like on a nuclear facility, but happily in a non-active environment. We've got various other bits of equipment as well. We've got other plant representative mock-ups to generate a decommissioning cell. We've got collaborative arms. We've got small KR10 KUKA robots. We've also got a 60 cubic meter dive tank as well to test underwater ROVs. But as well as that, on site, we've actually got an accommodation facility that gives you access to operators and engineers with decades of nuclear expertise as well, that allows you to ask what the challenges will be and also provide you with that test bed that gives you the real experiences, not just about a technology and an assault course. So I'll stop there, Sabrina. Thank you.
So we've talked quite a lot about what we have, but I understand that in context it might be difficult to understand or learn of how the equipment might be useful. So I can talk about a few Bristol cases. So University of Leeds are creating a pipe crawler, and they needed a gamma sensor, radiation sensor, and we have a GR1 that they hired from us to integrate it in with their pipe crawler. This would have been a great cost to them, but they were able to apply to the Access Scheme Fund and use it for free. They're then going to come on our site and test the system with our sealed sources. So they're able to hire equipment and use it to develop their nuclear research. So I mentioned before the ways in which you can currently access the kit, but the main way will be the website, which will be available next month. So I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to add 2 links to the chat. One being the mailing list. So again, to find out more about when the next Access Scheme Fund goes live, I suggest you sign up to our mailing list. So here's the link in the chat box. Also, if you are on LinkedIn, we also have a LinkedIn page. It would be fantastic if you can sign up and follow Hot Robotics, where you can find out more about the projects that come out of people using the equipment. So it'd be great if we can open up the floor now to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you very much, Sabrina and colleagues. I have a few questions, but let me see if anybody's raising their hands. Not at the moment. So I'll take the opportunity then to ask my questions. Thank you very much. Thanks for letting us know of the facilities and possibilities. A first question I had is that you talked about a few a few calls that we will accept from academia to use the facilities. Can you give us an idea of what form these applications will take, what kind of information we want from the applicants, and what will be the criteria to select the successful applicants?
Sure. The form is very short, and the facility will help you fill it in. So if you, for example, want to use kit from Manchester or NNL, or it depends very much, firstly, if you want to use it on our site or if you're happy for it to be delivered to you. If you fill in the form, and then I'm also aware there's questions in the chat here. The main questions are, which facility are you applying to? What equipment do you want to use? Have you had discussion with the facility to understand what support you require? And the main thing that the Access Scheme is trying to get are really big ideas, but obviously if you need smaller ideas within that program, then that's fine. They just want to understand what area of nuclear research you are in, why you want to use this equipment, and what is it developing, and why it is contributing to nuclear research. With the Leeds example that I gave earlier, we help them throughout their application. With NNL, there are additional things. Darren, do you want to talk a bit more about that?
Yeah, can do. Same principle applies, really. In that we have an email address that's on the website that you can contact us in the first instance and ask us about what you're interested in doing. With us being a licensed facility, there is actually the need for us to just make sure that the privilege of being able to come onto the site, so that's things like security clearance, making sure that we can also put in place all the safety inductions, and actually where you would like to work from as well. Is it that you'd actually like to come and work on the facility for a short duration in time, or is it something that you'd just like to turn up with your robotic equipment, which I've just seen go in the chat message then, and actually just use the mock-up environments for a short duration? Once we've addressed all those types of criteria, we can then help you pull together what the application would look like, what the requirements would be, and if there's any durations of time that we just need to make sure that you build into your programs, we can help you with that at every stage.
Okay, so I'm getting that the message is for us to get in touch and construct an application together, and therefore have the expectations that then it can be accepted if we or that we will have early feedback. Yeah.
Yeah, the main thing is to email us, as Darren said. So in the first link that I gave you, which was the Hot Robotics page on the NNUF website, the bottom at the pink box, you have all of our email addresses. The first point is just to email us, start a conversation, and we'll help with the application.
Thank you. There is a question on the chat. Rob is asking if it would be possible to test our own robots at your facilities.
The answer is absolutely yes.
Okay, good. Right. Leandro would like to ask a question. Please go ahead, Leandro.
The question is about the cycle of the applications, because as you've shown, it's applying for access within the next month, and sometimes we need to plan in advance, perhaps several months or a year. If you're making a bid for funding, we would like to say that, look, in the first year of the project, we'll have access and do some experiments with that kind of facility. Is this something that you are planning to support in any way?
So for the Access Scheme Fund, if you know already what things you might want to do in October to December, then within that application you can state that. But there are 3-month rounds after that. So in your larger program, you can state after December what it is that you hope to do. You don't need to ask for that funding yet. Does that answer your question?
Not really. What I wish what I was asking is, if we want to bid for something and say, look, I want to have some array money, we know that the cycles for this to be decided are fairly large, and we would like to have some sort of indication that part of that work will be supported by the hot robotics facilities on that particular point.
Just a point of clarification. It's not clear to me that Sabrina got this. He's talking about if he wanted to apply to a funding body, TPSRC, for example, and then say that we'll use these resources.
Yes, that's fine. So what you're asking for is to reserve some equipment or facilities for a future use, depending on what you submit.
or the willingness to support in a sort of a support letter, something like this.
Yes, absolutely. Again, email us, and as part of that conversation, we'll ensure that what you need is reserved and dependent on the success of the application.
That's what I wanted to hear. Thank you.
Can I add to that as well, Sabrina? I think it's quite important to point out that the user access fund is not just the only way to actually access these facilities. That's just one option. So like you say, other applications to EPSRC, European programs, these facilities are capital infrastructure we encourage you to use. Should you not be successful in a proposal to the user access scheme, that doesn't prevent you from still using them. There are other ways in which you can still access the equipment.
Typically, we need also the money for the staff to use it. But yeah, I'm glad to hear that you're supportive to that kind of approach. Thank you.
Okay. Any further questions? Okay. One final question, if I may. You have fantastic facilities that can be used. Is there, by any chance, any plan for perhaps some event or collection of events that will put forward opportunities for collaboration, focusing on topics and research projects rather than on the capital facilities themselves?
Yes, maybe I can start, and then Darren or Laura, if you want to talk next. So we are still working around the COVID restrictions that allow numbers on site. But as soon as we're given the go-ahead, I'm sure many of you found at the university, we will be having events on site so you can see the equipment, and we can create that as an opportunity to talk about collaborations that could be had. So yes, in person would be fantastic. We also have a live stream this evening starting at 4 o'clock with Robot Live, where you can see a robotic system in action, and I'll send you the link to that. So if you want to see an example of how we prepared a robotic system, which is measuring radiation on a ground robot, then that's the way in which you can have a bit of insights to the facility here and the robotics equipment and expertise that we offer. But the answer ultimately is yes, we would love to in the future, and in-person events would be a great way to do that.
Fantastic. With that, I would just like to say thank you so much for coming. Please keep us in the loop. YorRobots is a network of all researchers at all levels working in the area of robotics or interested in the area of robotics at the university. So we will be delighted to advertise your events and make sure that our colleagues, we have work in the area of robotics across 12 departments in the whole university. And so would be very much interested to be hearing from you about all these opportunities. Thank you so much for coming.
Just put in the chat here, they're live, but again, sign up to the mailing list, LinkedIn, and thank you so much for the opportunity of talking to you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you,
For my internet.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.